So welcome to everybody. I'm glad that you can join us today. And it's our first weekly water cooler. And I'm hoping that if you have any needs or if you have teachers that have needs that Globe could maybe help with, that you communicate with us and maybe we can do, I was calling it a brain jam. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Brainstorm is one thing, but I don't really like that word, so I was trying to think of a good one. But where basically we can all work together and crowdsource some solutions that we need to have coming up on the next couple weeks of challenges. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and show you what I had planned to share. And some of you may or may not know about this, but this is on the Globe website. And right now, if we scroll through, has anybody seen this? There's a new page for Globe. And it's Globe in the time of coronavirus pandemic. So on this page are all of our campaigns which have been suspended. But then we also have some Globe resources that can be done indoors. And then each of the regions are also coming up with their own information. And then just released this awesome NASA at Home link. And if you look at this one, we have a lot of videos and different ebooks and for kids and families, this page here. And I don't know if Lynn or one of our other NASA partners wants to say anything about this. You can go ahead and unmute and if you wanted to add anything to this, Lynn?
Yeah, so this has been a fairly fast-moving activity, and I've actually been working through this afternoon to kind of look at what all got posted where. There's this page, there's also a Science at Home page. So I'm trying to cross-check, and so bottom line is this page, these pages will be evolving, so keep checking back. Also, if you have requests or feedback on what's here or how it's laid out or any of that, I'd be happy to hear those feedback, because we want to make sure that this is helpful for the audience, which is you all and others. So again, it's going to be an evolving thing. This page that Jen is on right now, they're going to be having things rotate through there, but you'll see right there is all the Globe elementary books.
Yeah, it's a great resource though. And then they do have the K through 4, and then it's got the 5 through 8.
Yeah, and there's a 9-12 page in work, I believe maybe coming out today, or maybe it'll come out early next week. So watch for that as well.
Great, thank you. And then the other ones that I wanted to show you is, I don't know if anybody knows about this, and this is Ann Lewis, who's a Globe partner at the South Dakota Discovery Center. And she is essentially working through all the elementary Globe books by doing these Discovery Center live sessions. So this one she did, and they're short, but this one she did, she's just outside and she's journaling and she's doing some things on clouds and drawing pictures and things like that. So if you check that out, that is all on that page as well, so you can see what she's been doing live. And then the other thing is debuting tomorrow is Jessica doing a cloud cover estimation with her girls at home. So that'll be exciting. I have a little reminder that I will have come up tomorrow at 1 so I can tune in. And Marilé, you did one, right? There you are.
Yeah.
You want to say anything about that?
Sure. We had fun. It took 7 times. So if you are impressed with my girls and what we did, just think it took 7 times. But I'm very proud. My oldest, she goes through her journal. She talks about the journal she did, and it was all her. I did not tell her what to say or how to say it. So we start off with the famous cloud dance. So you guys know all about that cloud dance. So as you're watching it, I'm expecting you to move your things, right, and do all the cloud dances because we really practiced them last annual meeting.
Nice. That's great. Okay, so those were the 2 things that I wanted, or 3 things actually, that I wanted to share in particular. And I do hope that other partners and teachers sign up to do additional sessions of these weekly meetups. So we're just thinking that we would have people coming on board, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sharing a little tip, sharing how they're using Globe. And then if we have time also to kind of, if anybody has any challenges, that we try and think about answers to those challenges in this weekly meeting. So we hope that you join. And this is also, again, this will be recorded. So not only am I talking to the 23 of you, but I'm also talking about anybody that views this afterwards, that we hope that you keep joining us for these little check-ins and bringing your, beverage of choice for this, and continuing in that weekly meetup. So with that, John Moore, are you ready?
I am.
Oh, and Ann Lewis is joining us now after I just talked about her. So that's interesting. And we said all good things about you and your live sessions. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that after John speaks. Awesome. All right, I'm going to put myself on mute and I'll let you take over, John.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe wherever you are. So I volunteered to come up quick because this is what I worked on all last week. So I'm in South Jersey, outside of Philadelphia, for those that don't know that. And I work at the Institute for Earth Observations in Palmyra Cove Nature Park, and we're a partner here. And so what has happened here in South Jersey is the schools are all closed, like everywhere else. We closed down for the whole month. Generally, our time spent here at our center is this time of the year. Hundreds, if not thousands, of students come here and we do environmental programs. Some involve Globe, but all of a sudden nobody's coming. So the center is shut down by the our health task force in the county, but the park is still open. So it's 250 acres. It is not a playground park. The playground type parks are closed. This is in a conservation area with trails, 250 acres along the Delaware River. So we quickly switched to see what kind of service we could give to people coming here and to all the homeschoolers. And I've been in touch with our kind of teacher base in the first 2 weeks, as you all know, it's kind of crazy. So I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but we have about 150 to 200 people showing up here every day. It seems to be in the afternoon after all the homeschooling is finished, and the parents are probably getting a little stir crazy. So there's lots of families out here, and doing just a quick visual assessment, I don't think our usual customers in the afternoon are, more hardcore environmentally looking people if they have a look, and birders. We're a big birder site. And all of a sudden there's all these people here. So what I did was worked on with our web people to get some of the Globe activities in one place. Now, So this is our website, and down, now I'm trying to get this to scroll down. Do I have control of this, Jen, or do you?
You need to tell her where to go.
Okay, that's what I'm seeing that. Okay, Jen, can you scroll down a little bit, down on the page? Okay, right there. So you see in the red there, it says not in school, monitor the earth from home. Hit that, see how. Okay, and you'll have to scroll down a little bit so you can get more on there. Okay, so if you go, yeah, we're getting to the right place, so you can look around. I'll just talk very quickly. So it takes you to this page, and what I have done was gone on the web, pull out all the YouTube videos of all your good work that have short, like 2-minute introductions, and this is how you do things. And we put them all here on one page. So you can click on that. When you don't have to do this, Jen, but you can see all y'all, if you look on the see how portions, that will open up that short video that talks about Globe or one of the Do Globe protocols. So they're all there. So it's kind of like one-stop shopping. So the purpose behind this is if the people are coming to the park, they're coming to our website, they're probably looking to see if we're open or not, and we're trying to get them to this page, and then they can come with their smartphones with the Go app and then actually go in there, show them how to download the app and start taking the data. And we have that linked to us here, so we can kind of get a feeling for who's, if anybody new's coming in, and get a feel for who's putting the data in. And so that was our, this took about most of last week to find all these things and then work with our web person to get the page designed and everything. Our next step is then to somehow reach out to the public to let them know that it's here. I'm a little cautious on that because I do have to admit, I feel a bit guilty of whether I should be inviting people to come because they have to be practicing social protocols. But so far, until the governor of New Jersey changes the protocols again, we're still allowed outside to exercise and keep your distances on trails and stuff like that. So it's nothing really radical. What I wanted to show you is that if you can use this, it's one-stop shopping. So you can get right to this page and then go through all the globe observations on the observer apps and get people that are, what I talk about in there is you can do this in your backyard, your neighborhood, or come to a park. So we're trying to get education, whether they're teachers or their kids themselves or parents. If you're going to go outside to walk around in your neighborhood, or if you live near a park where you're allowed to still come out and work, that you can take your cell phone with you, which you probably do anyway, and engage in some of these things and see what we end up with. So nothing earth-shattering, but it was my quick attempt to kind of serve our community here. I will tell you this to end with too. Many of you are familiar with Hollow Globe and the Merge Cube, which you might recognize as this. Pete has communicated with the Merge Technologies, the people who make and sell that, and given us permission to put this up online. Looks the same. It's a mini me. This is a paper cube that comes on a paper template that they're allowing us to put that online. That will be free for people to download. So next week's work is to get a couple of those Hollow Globe lessons. We're working on 2 new ones. There's a couple out there already, and that you could look at. Mission Earth has one posted already that one I think Tracy worked on, and the Langley team worked on one. And so there's some stuff out there. We're going to get some things out. So we're looking to have that up next week. So maybe it becomes a little something a little bit different with technology you could do at home. And then if, in addition, and you don't need to do this for the sake of time, but if you go back on our splash page, there's another box up there to the right of where that thing I showed you. And we're developing, see that Earth System Learning Expeditions, Jen? Perfect. If you click on that, and then scroll down. So this is our regular web page, but go down a little bit to the bottom. Right there is learning activities in the park. So those first two lessons are things that Peter Dorothy, who most of you all know him, they're more intense lessons because he's a physics guy. So there's some things with albedo and some apps, but things you can be doing out in your neighborhood. And they also, one is albedo, one is measuring height. So they link to the Go apps too. So this is a little more sophisticated for sophisticated students. And then that other lesson there is what our natural scientist, Christina, put together real quickly. She deals mostly with smaller children. So it's a wildlife bingo, and all those things are out in our park. So you can download, it's not really a globe thing, but nevertheless, get them outside and some direction. So people aren't just wandering around aimlessly in the park. We give them something to do. And if this continues, I'm sure all the parents are going to be looking for something to do that has some educational value to it. So with that, I'm finished. Thank you for having me today, and hope to see you all in person soon. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Dave Bidlowski says, it's great to see what can be done without any equipment. I agree. That's definitely a challenge for a lot of people right now. So thank you for showing us that, because that's just a good reminder with the clouds. And then Marilé says that there's a NASA Globe Clouds Family Guide available. So just to let you know what we're going to be doing with these is, again, we'll be posting these water coolers pretty quickly to the Globe YouTube channel, and we'll make sure that all of the hyperlinks are in there as comments, so that not only can we send out these links to the Globe community, but they can be used with that for anybody. So I think that that'll be good, and then it'll have all these links that we need. Ann Lewis, I just wanted to give you a chance. I had shown them your South Dakota Discovery Center live feed, and you had said that you were doing the elementary globe books. Do you want to say anything about that?
Sure. What do you mean by show them the actual feed? Did you show like a snippet from the video? Eeks. All right. Well, yeah.
I'll Facebook page, and you were there, and you were, moving.
Yeah. So, so like everybody else on the call, I found out Friday that schools were going to be closed on Monday. And I work at a hands-on science center. We're the South Dakota Globe partner. And I wanted to supply something to our community because it caught the teachers, the parents, the kids, everyone just flat-footed. I mean, nobody was, I think the teachers may have had some inkling, but nobody was really expecting this. So I thought, hey, let's have a globe. I could do a Facebook Live from my backyard and show, and use some of the things that I do. So I started that, and it was shockingly popular. I'm not a broadcast personality. I'm super uncomfortable in front of the camera. But I felt it was really important that to show people what being outside in your backyard could look like. And I wanted also to bring in some of the enrichment pieces. And so I'm still using the elementary globe as sort of the anchoring resource. So we started out with the sky color. We didn't go into the full text, but we just, because the idea is that during this time, I give the whoever's watching something to do. I'll say, now get up and go outside and look at the sky. Go do this. So we are doing really simple things like sky. We're doing, don't know if you know this activity, it's called body thermometer, where you just stand outside and you assess the temperature. And we use the centigrade poem, 30 is hot, 20 is nice, 10 is chilly, 0 is ice. And so they have to report back, how do they feel outside? And we try to get the centigrade range. I'm on a one woman, well, probably every woman here and the men too are on a mission to get Americans comfortable with Celsius. There's no reason for us to not to be. It's just like speaking a second language. We can all do it if we just give students and ourselves enough experiences with thinking about how it feels outside in Celsius and not translating back and forth to Fahrenheit. So I'm working my way through the globe books. Started with the aerosols, colors of the sky. We did soil. I sent out soil kits. I have South Dakota soil with clay, sand, and silt. And we've done seasons. We've spent a lot of time on seasons. And we kind of extrapolate a little bit out as we do with elementary globe books. Because ruby-throated hummingbirds are just not thick here up in South Dakota. So we use robins. So we spent a lot of time talking about robins, and it helps I have robins zooming around my backyard, and they're part of the show. Eventually we'll go on to Earth systems and then water. I have a little pond in my backyard, and so we'll look at the discoveries at not Willow Creek, but my backyard. We have like little snails, and we'll take water temperature. So next week we're actually switching. I was doing it every day at 10 o'clock, and it actually turns out to be a lot more, like everything turns out to be a lot more work than you think it will be when you start. So I'm switching to 2 days a week, and then 1 day a week another staff member is going to do something, and then so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday it's for the students, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then Wednesday and Friday we're doing a citizen science focused theme. And we're starting out with iNaturalist, and then later on in the month we'll go to Globe Observer. And with that we have remote learning hacks at 4 p.m. for teachers and parents, also done by broadcast via Facebook Live. And we take an online resource and we walk them through it. Teachers very quickly got a lot of resources. I'm sure you've seen those lists, and they're dense, and it's like, well, what does this look like? So yes, I'll do that, Angela. So this is just to help say, okay, here's an activity, and this is how you unpack it, and this is how you can use it for a remote learning and instruction time. So that is the fast and furious overview of what I'm doing with Globe and citizen science in my backyard.
I have to say, it's pretty amazing because, John, your site is beautiful, right? Like, you took Globe and you totally answered a need in your community and made this beautiful site. And it's unbelievable what the Globe partners that I keep hearing is happening, and teachers and the things that they're turning around. And I know Amy, like, we've all been all of a sudden thrust into this, and to see like a site like yours, John, and Anne, you taking the books and doing this, who would have thought? Like, personally, I never would have thought that we could have done all these things, right? Like, there are always limitations, and now I just look at it and I'm like thinking, wow, give us a crisis and look at what we can do, right? But it's also, we've taken away a lot of our pressures too. you know, like it's this trade-off, right? So that, okay, I can't see people, I can't do my normal stuff, people aren't coming to our center, so how do I still reach the same audience in a different way? So it's a really interesting thing. Yeah, Tina's, they have an after-school program that's closed. It's using Elementary Globe to provide a daily activity for their students online. So I think that these are all great things that we're doing. Is there anybody right now that we need to that we can help you solve a problem? Does anybody have a problem that they need solved that maybe these 25 people on the line can come up with a solution? And if not, then you can email me later. But anybody can raise your hand.
Jen, this is Todd. I have a question for everybody here.
Yeah.
I originally said no to your request there, but with this group, I was wondering, the remote sensing lessons, I sent drafts of those out right before all of this happened. So obviously, I don't have any data coming back. Teachers aren't obviously using them. But when this is all said and done, if anybody on the presentation right now would like to receive the lessons and send them out to teachers, I'd be really appreciative of that, since we're going to get a really late start getting back into this. So again, they're just introductory remote sensing activities that we have draft lessons, but we need teacher input. Thank you.
All right. If anybody can help Todd, then either contact him directly or I'll make sure that he gets your emails.
Thank you, Todd, and yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
That was Larissa from Boston.
I have another poll. We'll just take a moment. You ready?
Hey, Jen.
Yes. No, go ahead. You can talk while the.
I want to do the poll first.
Okay.
That was an easy one. Hey, what I was going to ask was, I don't, you know, we're in this real struggle as to how are teachers going to share activities, learning opportunities, instruction to kids. Will anybody be aligning to like the next generation science standards? Is there a need for maybe Globe to provide that if some districts want to tie that in? For instance, if a classroom was going to be doing in science something, whatever that topic might be, it would be nice if we could help direct teachers to those particular topics because they would be aligned to their standards that they had anyway. So that was one thing. The other thing I was thinking is there a way to look at assignments maybe K2 and 3-4? Because the K2 environment is such a different kind of environment as far as online teaching would go. And you know, I was just listening to a thing recently where they were talking about most people think about elementary online instruction versus secondary online instruction, but it's really different between K2 and about 3rd grade and up, because students in about 3rd grade, they're reading better for the most part, maybe 4th grade and up, that their needs on online are far different than the upper grades, because they can take more as you go into the upper grades, maybe 3rd and 4th grade or above, you can give particular assignments, kids can kind of follow and do that. Whereas with kindergarten through 2nd grade, it needs so much direction or parent direction. So I just wonder if we think about those things, if that's an issue that we can address in the Globe community.
So is part of so what would you envision for that? What a particular, like a web page with some of these activities that are matched to those that haven't been matched before?
Well, I'm not totally sure, but I'll give you an example, like with Elementary Globe. And I shared that with like our grandkids' teachers and stuff. The teachers, kids don't have any, like even like the coloring pages, like the coloring pages that we even are on the net, but they don't have, if they don't have a printer, you can't do that sort of work. They don't have the charts. How can they make that transition of taking some of those data tables and putting into something that kids can use? Or is there some way that they can put that, can we put the data somewhere where they can write it out? But also that a kindergarten through second grade kid it has a much harder time taking maybe even an activity from Elementary Globe and following through that activity. Even if they had the activity with them, they could, many of them could do it themselves. Whereas K2, since you can't read, it's a much harder situation. So I think I guess maybe just the idea is that it's a different thinking process, K2, than it is probably grade 3 and up. And maybe there's some way that we can address that. But that kind of made me think of it too. With most of the time, I really liked what John did, is that he took all of those Globe activities that you can do without equipment, because kids, for the most part, are probably dependent upon the equipment that they use within the classroom, and they don't have any of that equipment. Or maybe we look at using weather stations a little bit different, where they can collect data, even though it's not their own thermometer. Can they actually take some sort of source that is around them? Maybe we help direct them more to Weather Underground type things or something like that. So I guess there's maybe multiple things. K2 is being one issue. Another one is not having equipment. And I guess the third thing is there a way to help align through NGSS? That's all.
Hey, Dave, this is excellent. So some of the issues that you brought up are things that the Globe Class team tried to tackle in the Family Guide, and especially emphasizing journaling as a way for observations, because here in Virginia we're in lockdown, right? We can't really, we're not, we can go out for exercise, but really we're really staying in our backyard. But there is still ways to use journaling as a way to relate at least for cloud observations with weather patterns. Or right now the buds are bursting, so you can keep track of things like that. You can make kind of like the, what is the activity where you make your own cloud chart? You can do it on your window and keep track of the cloud types. So we kind of went into that. If you've seen my video that went out yesterday, I'm with my pre-K child and my second grade child, and I'm modeling some activities that you can do with both levels. So hopefully that'll help. I know that we've been talking about it, so I don't know if the rest of the class.
That's great. And I saw somebody comment about journaling, and I know that our State Department of Natural Resources, they put some nice ideas out about journaling. Maybe that's the thing too, is that we bring that out more in Globe, so that kids can journal that, make their observations, and even have it for nice stems for creative writing and so on. Yeah, thanks. And I'll watch that video. I look forward to it.
Yeah, and Tina Hart did some starter sentences for journaling, and we added some pictures to help parents figure out what a journal looks like. It can have, if you do go outside, you can put a leaf on it. You can draw things. So yeah, we tried, but if you notice anything that we are missing, just let us know, and then we as a team, we can work it out, because there is the need.
Yeah, and Globe that was a nice thing about Elementary Globe too, is that it has some nice starter journal ideas in there, and a little page to start your journal and stuff. So those are very good starts.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
this is going beyond Globe, but I read an article, I think it was a UVA professor, who talked about the importance of journaling just in general right now, because we are in such a unique situation. So for the even young kids to journal, not just about science, but about what their life is like right now, could be a really cool thing for them, when they become parents and grandparents, to pull that back out and kind of share with their family what this was like to go through. So, you know, again, beyond Globe, but I think the general concept is relevant to Globe, you know, paying attention and observing what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah, I would love to see, this is Svetlana, I would love to see any sample journals for older students as well. And several of us over a number of meetings the last couple of days have talked about linking this work to literacy. And of course, journals really offer a great opportunity for kids to write. That connects to what Dave was saying about the standards. I'm not sure if that responded to. I think I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, not even being a teacher or a mom with kids at home right now, of all the materials that are coming out. And I don't know if sorting by NGSS practices or standards, I think the standards are probably too detailed, but something where if a teacher just needed to get a handle quickly on what were the 2 or 3 or 4 resources that could really help the kids in, you know, in meeting these 3 standards, it would be, I mean, if we could put this stuff online and have it be searchable database, that would be super awesome. That's not going to happen immediately, obviously, but I don't know if there's been any discussion of that, just curating it in some way that for those teachers who are still, you know, concerned about standards, that might make it a little bit easier to find stuff. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure any of our teachers are as worried about standards at this point as they are about just, it's pass fail right now for our kids. It's a really interesting thing where I haven't seen anything related to standards so much as how do we make this useful with our kids and the equity issues that we have, and making sure that, you know, I talked to a principal and he said, yeah, we can give devices to the 3rd and up grades, but those K through 2, we can't send them home with a device, and they need parental involvement in order to do anything. So it's a really interesting challenge for sure.
Yeah, and Jen showed the NASA homepage at the beginning. I'm showing right now the Science at Home page because it's not NGSS aligned, but it does have somewhat of an organization structure. So in particular, if you need things that are hands-on, there's a section. There's still quite a lot under here, so it's still overwhelming, but at least there's a little bit of structure. And I put that link in the chat, so if you want to poke around at that, feel free. And again, comments welcome.
Hey, Jen.
Yes.
I was going to say a follow-up to Lynn. I really did like that NASA at Home and how it was situated. I noticed when that first came out, it was very easy to find and use the information. The other thing, you brought up a point too, and maybe this is something for Globe to think of down the line. It's interesting that like elementary kids, they want to learn. I mean, I think everybody wants to learn, but I was talking to some people across the street and today, and they were saying how, like, their elementary daughter, she's just looking for, you know, resources from their teacher, things that they can do. But their 10th or 11th grade student who, you know, knows that he's going to pass all of his classes, that it's going to be pass fail. You know, he says, why should I even bother doing any of this? And I think it always gets to that point of you were saying, you know, kind of that the importance of the issue. Why do kids want to learn? What does Globe provide somebody that even in this kind of situation, that people want to get more information and to learn and to excite a middle school or high school student? I think it's a little bit easier for elementary because they're so excited about it. Yeah, we know middle school and high school get excited, but it's a difficult situation for parents right now to motivate their students. So appreciate your thoughts. I appreciate that page on NASA broken down, and Jen for bringing up that thought about that motivation for students.
Yeah, and so one thought I have on that is not NASA, but one thing that could motivate older students is learning about what's going on right now. I've seen a few compendia of COVID-19 specific resources. There's awesome math and science and biology and computer science and all sorts of things in there. There are pages that have been compiled, and I can scare up the links and put them in the chat. The European Citizen Science Association, the US Citizen Science Association, and I think it's the Australian Citizen Science Association have all been gathering in one page sort of things that are available and things that you can do. I've seen some really awesome things about exponential growth as a math thing. So again, none of that's really NASA, but for older kids, that may be the way to go to really get their motivation.
Yeah, along those lines, I will put a link in the chat from a colleague who runs a network of schools called the Big Picture Schools, and it's not related to science particularly, but they're so it could be using what's going on to encourage kids to actually do projects about what they're experiencing, or there's math projects about how to get to the store. There's there's all kinds of research that they could be doing. And I think he wrote this article probably a couple of months ago now, or at least a month ago, before everybody was basically sheltering in place. So projects would have to be presented online, not in person. I think there was an intention that kids would come for a couple of different projects, classrooms. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But it was kind of an inspiring article, really harnessing, the interest and sometimes the fear that kids are experiencing right now to sort of flip that, and not necessarily flip it, but to channel it into doing projects that are relevant to them or of interest to them.
Yeah, and I'll just add on to that piece and motivation. There's some research coming out about humidity and its relationship to this COVID-19. So it'd be really interesting to see if there's anything that Globe could kind of leverage on that and that relationship. So I was just thinking, as you were talking about all of those things,